Knights of the Zodiac is a beloved series which has introduced millions of fans to the fascinating world of mangas and animes. What's up everybody? Demetrius here. Welcome to Fiction Screen. And in this series, we're gonna start reviewing the episodes of Knights of the Zodiac. Episode 1. Revive. Legendary Hero. The episode opens with scenes of the world and a narrator telling us who the knights are. They're warriors who fight alongside Athena, goddess of wisdom and warfare, who reunite from time to time in order to fight against evil. They use their bodies as weapons. They're so powerful that their punches can cut through the air and their kicks can split the earth. The scene changes to the Colosseum and we get to see the fight between Lioness Ben and Unicorn Jabu. Ben has a great start, having Jabu on the ropes and is really beating him up. As soon as Jabu faces Saori and the cheering crowd, he turns the tables and counterattacks Ben. Jabu even celebrates, but is soon surprised by Ben, who gets up. These scenes are excellent because they set up the story and show us the kind of destructive power that knights have. While Saori is thinking about what's going on, she shows us the reason for the fight. It's a tournament for the golden armor. The bronze armor boxes are displayed under the golden armor box, and we see there's one box missing. Then she wonders where Seiya might be. And that's what causes the transition scene to Greece, where he is. Now we see things happening in the Sanctuary, where the Grand Master presents the Pegasus cloth box to Cassius and Seiya. He explains that they made it to the final battle of the Sanctuary tournament, and that the winner would become the Pegasus Knight. We see Cassius as a really strong antagonist who knocks Seiya down, holds him up in the air, and threatens to cut his ear. We then hear a loud noise, but in the next scene, we see that it was Seiya who cut Cassius' ear. These scenes were also important to set up the protagonist's personality. He's really strong-minded and also powerful, because he was able to counterattack a physically stronger opponent. Cassius threatens the protagonist again, however Seiya beats him up and stops one of his attacks with just one hand. He tells Cassius he only obtains the surface power of the knights and asks him if he's ever felt the universe inside him. That's when we see the flashback of Marin, Seiya's master, teaching him about Cosmo, the energy of the universe that knights burn inside their bodies, which allows them to do extraordinary feats. She also tells him that Pegasus is his guardian constellation. Besides the great art style, the story and the characters, I need to say the soundtrack is just amazing. Each song gives us the exact vibe of what's going on, especially Seiya's theme song. Back to the present time, Seiya is drawing the 13 stars of Pegasus with his hands, and then we see the universe behind him with the constellation. I usually say that Saint Seiya presented us with a different visual art style, because I remember watching it as a child, and at first I didn't understand this metaphorical way of illustrating the scene. I mean, I was flipping through channels, and I saw scenes like that, and I thought they were floating in space. I couldn't understand what was going on. We can see it when Seiya talks about Pegasus and a Pegasus appears behind him, or when Aeolia shows up and we see a lion behind him. They are symbols and I found that fascinating. Cassius doesn't believe a word Seiya says and attacks him. That's when we see the protagonist using his main technique, Pegasus Meteor Fist. There's a beautiful scene of him running towards Cassius and the image keeps changing. In 1 second it shows us Seiya, in the next it shows us Pegasus. The protagonist throws several punches in just 1 second, while his theme song, Pegasus Ryusei Ken, is playing. Guys, if you're enjoying the video, don't forget to like, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss the next videos. Without a shadow of a doubt, Seiya wins. The Grand Master then says Athena recognizes him as a knight and gives him the armor box. At that moment, the Grand Master warns Seiya that he can never wear the armor for personal gains, only to fight for justice. Seiya is really happy, but unfortunately, not everyone agrees with the result of the tournament. Shaina, who is Cassius' master, is really pissed and says Seiya will pay for that. Next, we get to see Seiya in his house. He's so curious that he wants to open the box, but Marin reminds him not to do it if it's not necessary. Suddenly, she seems to have detected some kind of danger. They try to run away from the sanctuary and we still don't know what's happening. She stops out of the blue, Seiya falls down, and then we see that Shaina was chasing them. Marin tells her student that if he wants to go back home, he'll have to defeat China. She attacks him and she's really powerful. Her Cosmo is represented with an image of a cobra, and her energy seems to strike Seiya like an electric shock. He falls down, and this establishes the difference in their power levels, which will later be explained. Being a Bronze Knight, he's initially not as powerful as Marin or China, who are Silver Amazons. The difference in power levels gets more evident when Seiya attacks her with the Pegasus Meteor Fist, the same attack that was able to knock out Cassius. But she just dodges and blocks each punch and states that she's way faster than him. She counterattacks, knocking Seiya down in a hell and cuts the straps of the armor box. So, Seiya remembers that Marin told him he could open the box if it was for his own protection. That's when he pulls the chain in the Pegasus' face, its eyes glow red, and the box opens. That's when we see another genius idea that Masami Kurumada created. When the armor is not being used, it stays inside the box in the same shape of the constellation. So together, the pieces of the armor form a Pegasus. Just imagine how much work he had to design each armor and its pieces forming the images. It's really creative. Seiya is just astonished as he sees the armor for the first time. There's a huge energy around it, and we even see kinds of electric sparks made of Cosmo. The next scene is stunning. We hear the Pegasus song, Seiya touches the helmet and the armor lifts him and itself up in the air with the beautiful night sky as a background. As the armor approaches its night, its pieces separate and we can see the image of a Pegasus going towards him. In the background, there's the constellation of Pegasus, which is so cool. Then the armor comes to him and covers his body. So we see the design of the Pegasus constellation, as if it had just recognized him as the Pegasus Knight. As he realizes how powerful he is now, he punches through the air and the mere impact of the punch throws a wave of energy, which ends up hitting China's shoulder plate and knocks her down. Next, he shows up on top of a hill with his armor full of power. He's confident that he can fight her, but ends up getting beaten up. He's in shock and doesn't understand why all of a sudden the armor is so heavy. Marin reminds him that knights can only use their power if they burn their Cosmo, and tells him to remember how he felt the first time he wore his armor, but he still can't fight. Then some random sanctuary guards that seem to be still training to become knights start hitting Seiya, who stands up and burns his Cosmo. He uses the Pegasus Meteor Fist to defeat them, and the mere wind pressure that results from the attack ends up splitting China's mask. She's really impressed and tells him that the next time they meet, she wants him to fight seriously. Seiya responds by stating that he doesn't want to fight her. Marin escorts him to the sanctuary exit and says that he has fought well until that point. However, his battle was about to start, since now he was a knight. She also asks him what he's gonna do with the armor when he arrives in Japan. In a joking tone, he says he would only tell her if she showed him her face, which is covered with a mask. She gets silent, and he understands she's not gonna do that. The episode ends with a suspense song and the figures of the other Bronze Knights. This episode is excellent. Without revealing too much, it establishes the tone, the story, gives us a general idea of the supporting characters and introduces us to the protagonist, to his goals and powers. It also creates a hook for the next episodes, making us wonder what's gonna happen when Seiya arrives in Japan to fight the other knights. So that's it, guys. Let me know your opinions about this episode in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, see you!